move you make, every vow you
I need names. People working in the CIA.
every smile you
I got him.
wait.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I'll be watching you.
Hey, welcome to What the Flick, everybody. Ben Mankiewicz, Robert Abley. Good to see you again. Alonzo Duralde.
Thank you.
It's finally here, the season premiere of season 3 of The Americans. And right off the bat, incredibly tense.
The EST Men is the title.
Right, The EST Men is the title. Noah Emmerich's character trying inexplicably to get back together with his wife. I guess guilt after the, not only have I cheated on you, but the woman I had the affair with.
Is a Soviet spy.
I think I got her killed.
Oh yeah, that too.
Right. It appears Nina Sergeyevna. Although, since we didn't see it,
Yes, Oleg is clearly trying to
Oleg-
fix
Yeah.
things. So
Oleg is clearly trying. He's a good guy, Oleg.
He is, it turns out,
He's
yeah.
a principled guy. You know, he's like, even if she was in love with him, he says to Arcady, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna help her, but he's gonna have to do it a regular way. He can't just call dad.
And he's saying something that everybody in America feels, why are we in Afghanistan?
Right, totally,
yeah,
right,
no,
that's smart.
that's going to be this season, I think. Is
Yeah.
that like, look, they did this first, you know.
So,
Yeah.
so we get that video at the beginning, which is, I mean, I don't know when they shot it. But I mean the timeliness of
Absolutely.
that,
No,
of in 1982, capturing a Russian soldier and executing him in a tape, but it's not sent to the media. It's sent then
to the
just
government.
just to the government, with a guy who could easily have been Osama bin Laden.
Absolutely.
Easily. I mean, so that, you know, I mean, to make a show set in 1982 so incredibly relevant, and that great,
I know.
and that great
Well,
line of
because we
Washington.
never learn a fucking thing ever. That's kind
right.
of the message of this show. We never learn anything, and that's why history is cyclical, and that's why we're doomed to repeat it because we just completely blow it off.
I mean, just such good writing to not only get that line there from which guy said it? Not Arcady, the other guy. What's his name? We've already said.
Oleg.
Oleg, right. So Oleg says, we shouldn't be in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
But then later they get the line from Arcady of, Reagan wants to turn
Into Vietnam. So it's like,
Afghanistan into our Vietnam.
It
Right.
is. It's
Yeah.
cyclical. I mean, it's Vietnam for us, Afghanistan for them, Afghanistan for us. You know,
Right.
that's, you
Yeah.
know,
What's going to be their Vietnam?
Right.
That's right.
maybe-
I guess Vietnam. That's the only.
yeah, or Ukraine maybe. You
Right.
know.
Yeah, I know.
True.
Yeah, it's so that stuff is really good. But then just that great scene where she's getting the information.
Yeah.
With her.
Which is setting up clearly what I mean, it's getting information on the Afghan situation from the CIA is obviously the big mission for the Soviets this season. I think that's what that first scene sets up.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the MacGuffin.
That's the MacGuffin this year, right? And so she gets the list, then she loses the list, and we can tell from the coming up next that getting the list some other way is
A big deal.
critically important. But also just a nice sort of sexism conversation there.
Yes.
You know, I mean that woman seemed so angry and bitter though, and
I know.
but then so I hated her, and then she ends with the thing that you're like, oh, yeah, well, you should have at least gotten a thank you, and, and maybe and probably the promotion that your idiot boss got. But I thought a really nice way of having her change her mind. Like just like you think, because it's the Americans, that woman's coming down the stairs drunk, and you think they bump into each other, and you think, oh, she just poisoned her.
Yes, I thought that too.
Yeah,
I know.
but no, she's just drunk and bumped into her.
Yeah, I know. And even though I think when she's looking at herself in the mirror in the phone booth that she's going to call it in, there's still plenty of tension in the rest of it. I love the way they have a shot of Kerry Russell figuring out what's going on, like she needs to get out of there, you know, and then she wipes the glass and she wipes this, and then she's like, I gotta go.
She wiped the glass?
She wiped the
to
glass and
fingerprints.
she wiped the table and then she took off.
I loved how smart, she's so smart. That character is so smart. And then so she's talking to that woman. They're both professional spies. This woman's
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
And she's like, oh, no, stay, we're having such a good time. And Russell looks like,
And it was
do I,
forced.
do I cultivate my asset here?
Yeah.
Or do I cut
No,
it wrong?
something's wrong.
Yeah,
See ya, I gotta
I know.
go. Right.
By the way,
She
it took
went
me to
upstairs.
season 3 to finally catch up to the fact that the two main characters are named for the British royal family. Philip and Elizabeth.
Phil and Elizabeth. That's
I
really-
just that completely escaped me.
never
It
thought
escaped
of
me
that
until 4 seconds ago. Interesting, yeah. Probably not.
And I know you love spy stuff, and I just love the idea that when Kerry Russell's head is slammed against the hood,
car.
and she has a clear tooth dental issue, and then you find out from the FBI that they've got every hospital covered.
And
she
the
can't,
dentist.
Yeah, and so she can't go anywhere. I mean, I love that.
Totally.
That's great.
They're very
And I know you like catching the super 80s moment.
Fruzenglaja. Which, by the way, I have a problem with.
She would believe it was Swedish.
Wouldn't she know that it's not Swedish?
I don't think that was clear in 1982. I mean, I didn't know.
She's a spy, though.
I got it, but I mean, I had to eat Haagen-Dazs.
She would have looked it up.
I ate Haagen-Dazs for a year and a half before I found out.
It's a phone call back to look this up. I'm not convinced this is
She's
Swedish.
got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
She called their people in Stockholm to check. Yeah, no, I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
Before we started, you talked about how effective they are at building tension, and we mentioned that woman. The great thing when you build tension effectively is that you don't know when they're building tension and when they're just fooling you.
Right.
And so, not even so much fooling you, but when you don't know what is. So, of course, that woman's walking down the stairs and they bump into each other. I'm like,
Yeah. Throwaway.
No, nothing. Throwaway, right? You don't know. But of course, that sets up, that broke her routine. So she looked to the phone.
Right.
Whereas if that woman hadn't been there, she might walk straight up into the woman's bathroom.
That's a good point.
True. Okay, so we're introduced to Frank Langella this time, which is always a good thing to be introduced to Frank Langella.
Who's the pervy new Margot Martindale, I think, right? I mean,
I guess I didn't quite get that read on him. I thought maybe he was higher up than that, but he could just be their new guy.
He's clearly he's done it before.
Yeah. Well, because that last young one didn't work out, so I'm sure they were like, "Give me an old guy. These guys, he knows."
Right.
them,
Somebody who knows them, and because I think he's there also to probably help facilitate the Page thing. I think he's probably been because he knows them.
Sure, he knows the kids.
They figure he'll be able to kind of like guide them into that.
Yeah. Which I think is also going to be the kind of the other arc of this season is going to be do they groom Paige? Do they run from grooming Paige?
Yeah, and I at first thought she was doing what she said she was when she told Frank Langella that stuff. I'm like, she's just giving him what he needs to hear, so he'll stop asking. But by the end of the episode, I'm not so sure. And clearly, I think their message is you're not supposed to.
Right.
You don't know what her motivations are.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think she has been going to church with her, and I think she has been bonding with her. But I think she's pitching that to Frank Langella as I'm doing it to get her into the biz, whereas she's really doing it just to sort of try and mend that relationship.
I think because we know how much of a true believer she is, she's also she likes that she's doing this no nukes. I don't know. I think we don't.
Well,
I think we don't know.
Maybe,
and
yeah,
I think
maybe not.
the way they're threading this drama is they're introducing the whole thing with her listening to her mother's tape. So you're gonna have Elizabeth contemplating her own relationship with her own mother.
Right.
The fact that she now knows that she's dying and she gets to listen to her voice again, with how she's gonna look at her relationship with Paige. So I think you're gonna see that played out. She's probably go back and forth.
And then for all the brilliance that character has, for all of Elizabeth's smarts, we see at moments, she threw her in the pool. At some point, she gets a little frustrated, and she might just say, "Detonate your spines!"
That'll be a scene.
Well, she thinks quickly very, very nicely. I mean, she got out of,
She lies on her feet well. I mean, that's one of her skills, for sure.
I think that I think I was wrong about something because it appears that in the way TV does stuff, it appears Pastor Tim might not be a pedophile.
I think we all thought that maybe a little bit last
Sure,
year.
and then the hair, and then but then he sees the Paige and the guy, they like each other, and he's like, "Ooh, look at that!" Like a regular,
He seems cheery.
like a regular grown-up. Well, but I don't. Again,
that's also a little culty, though. Kind of trying to make sure that they marry within.
Yeah, totally. No, Pastor Tim is super creepy. There has to be something creepy.
I think Pastor Tim is just so excited that the mother's there. I mean, I think he knows it's okay in the household now.
That's true. After that whole.
I don't really have any information here. It's one of my 3-4 best friends in the world plays Pastor Tim, and he hasn't really told me anything. But I know he's going to be in it again.
Okay.
And so, something's happening. Something is going on with Pastor Tim. Pastor Tim is not just going to be the kindly old pastor who helps her do stuff.
We haven't seen the last of Pastor Tim.
Yeah. Elizabeth is going to have to kill him, I think.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah,
that's something you want on your reel.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's Yusuf, and with the big ending with Yusuf and Annalise, right?
And he tried to save her, right? There's no question.
He kind of took his time once he realized what was going on in there. He was listening to the whole thing. I think he could pretty much tell, oh, wait, they're suddenly quiet. Oh, wait, a lamp got knocked over. I think if he'd been genuinely meaning to save her life, he would have come in earlier. I think he realized that she was such a loose cannon that it was that by letting Yusuf kill her, he could then manipulate Yusuf and start playing him.
I don't think he wanted Annalise dead.
I don't know that he wanted Annalise dead, but
But
he didn't want her not dead enough to burst in
I
earlier,
think
which
he
he certainly could
still
have
went
done.
back to his room first and fixed his hair and put the stuff away and put his glasses on. Like he was not wearing his glasses
When he was listening.
I think.
Maybe.
And so he still.
But he threw his thing down so quickly.
Yeah,
I mean,
he moved pretty quickly.
Well, but to get there before Yusuf left,
Yeah.
I think
oh my
that's
God,
what that
the house
became
is
about.
on fire. I've got to go
Yeah.
save her. You know.
To do.
But obviously it gave him leverage over Yusuf. But I like that there were these guys there, and like he walks in, he's just killed somebody, and they're having this really weird conversation. Nobody's running, nobody's terrified,
no one's panting.
Well, I
Right.
mean, he's gone into.
Yusuf's terrified, but
Yusuf's terrified, but I mean, Phil has gone into cultivate an asset mode. Cultivate an asset. You know, he's got.
But Yusuf totally understood it. As soon as she said
Yeah.
it, he was like, oh, I mean, he made a mistake because
Right.
it didn't. Killing her only prevents him from finding out. It would have been nice for him to know for whom you're spying. And of
Right.
course,
Sure,
if he
yeah.
hadn't been listening at that moment, he wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, great stuff. You know, it's they do a thing here. They're still 44 minutes basically. Was this a little
Yeah.
longer?
This was a little longer.
But still, Sons of Anarchy was running, like an hour and a half.
Well, yeah, hour. Yeah, I know.
And these guys still managed to get it in a reasonable time. It's so much better. It's
Oh,
tighter.
Martha.
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 Yeah.
And her
Oh,
gun.
by the way,
the
it is
tantric
like.
sex.
Yes.
Don't introduce someone shooting a gun in the first episode unless you're going to use it later. So
Oh,
clearly
yeah,
that's going to
that's
come
a
in.
thing.
That's a thing. Her shooting a gun.
Martha Marksman May Marlene.
I didn't know what they were doing.
That was good. I like
the
that.
worst ever. I'm so sorry.
I didn't know what was happening in the sex scene there, what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
And then, so this is not a conversation anybody wants to have at their house. So I'm like, what are they doing? And my wife goes, it's tantric sex. And I'm like, how do you? And she goes, it's not important.
Okay then,
Yeah.
Sting.
Yeah, right. I'm like, it's not, anybody could, it's not, with who, what, yeah.
Also, I didn't realize that Richard Thomas was still like out in the field. Like he seemed to be desk jockey to me. So the idea that he's actually chasing down, Elizabeth in the middle of the street, it's like, whoa, I didn't think you were
I
that
think so too,
active
but
anymore.
because he's the guy in charge of that division, and
Yeah.
it was a moment.
It was emergency.
It got to, I think we may have an illegal, so
Right.
they came. It's not like he would, but it did get him punched.
Oh, and the FBI is bringing in a defector. Clearly.
Right. Somebody.
Right. Oh yeah, the USA.
Right.
Yeah, they never
US
explained. He said,
Canada.
"I'll tell you later." Is that a real thing, or
I
meant to
Probably-
Google it? I forgot.
Probably the
Okay.
U.S.-Canada alliance, whatever. All right, good stuff. We'll be back next week, episode 2. Thanks, everybody.